fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. I'm here with the wonderful Nick Hunter. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good, glad to hear it. We're finishing up our mini series on loops today, which has been really awesome and fun, actually. I mean, this has been a really fun mini series. I'll be probably going back and rewatching it. Real quick, we do this 5 days a week. We stream on 3 platforms: Discord, YouTube, and Twitch. A lot of people these days are on YouTube. I know Twitch has issues with ads, but in Discord, doesn't have a delay that the other two have. The other two have like about a 90-second delay. So if you ask a question and you're like, man, they sped past this topic really fast, I guess they're not gonna get to my question. No, it's because I only see your question. You're essentially 90 seconds in the past. So I see your question and I will redirect the conversation topic back to it. Nick, I know you're a little like unsure about what we're doing today. Did you?
Yeah, it's okay. I just, like an idiot, I quit the wrong FileMaker and I lost what I loaded, what's the name? A real world, real loop, when I'm using loop, So I wanted to show you something real,
Yes, that would
right?
be cool.
So if you have any question from this, what we talk about so far in the loop, if people have question or any question that you might have about FileMaker in general, that's okay. While I'm opening the file and I'm looking for the script again. Right.
We have one that was about actually while. You can set fields within the while function, question mark.
Yes, because the while function. Oh, yeah, that's a good topic. So let's talk about that. Thank you for the question.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was missing this. So let me open the while file, which is normally should be
Do you want to share
here.
your screen?
Yes. Where the while is there? So the file is opening. Okay, it's there. So the while function. Okay. So let's say I want to do something like this, right? So here, a normal, or a normal loop stuff, So what this loop do, right? Is doing a variable, right? So it's all working into a variable. I am not, what's the name? Setting any fields. Okay. So this is only in the variable. So I have a date here. So let's put a date a little bit more up to date. Right. So the G date, right? So is it the G date? G date. Okay. Okay. So what this do? I'm taking the date, right? So this is my date, right? Today. This is a max count, so it's free, right? So I'm going to do that 3 times. I make sure the counter is blank and the result blank. I did that on purpose for the demonstration of the while, because this, I'm going to replace this by a while, okay? So I'm saying, okay, remember the loop, the counter, 1, and that the max, that the value count, right? The max count. And then I said, the result is whatever in this variable, and like this, and the date plus the counter and the calculus return. So this is what happened. This is the result, right? So 26, right? That the result, 26. Because it was the 25 plus the counter, 25 plus 1. Then you do this. The counter is 2 now, right? And now I'm taking the date, 25 plus 2. And I am adding this, to the variable. So now I have 26 and 27. Is the 25 plus 1, 25 plus 2. Then I continue and I say, I'm setting the variable. And I said this. Now it's 25 plus 1, 25 plus 2, 25 plus 3. And then now that the counter equal the max count, this goes away. I'm exiting, right? And then I'm setting this field with the results, which is here. So let's say now I'm doing the same thing, right? With 5 days or 10 days, right? So let's do it again. I'm doing this, loop, 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 right? Right? So this is what it's doing, loop, 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 like this. It adds again and again and again, and it will stop at 10. So now I have 10 equal 10. So here, right, are my dates, exits, set the field, right? So this is using a loop. I have another one, this one, right? And from this is how many counts. And this one is from that day. So let's say from today until today, but of next month. Next month. 1 month, right? 1 month. So I have another script, this one. It's another type of loop, right? I have the date and the max date. So I'm starting from this day and I'm ending this day. So the loop will do this. Instead of doing a counter, see here, I don't have a counter. Here I just say, okay, when the new date that I'm generating here will be the date plus 1 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 plus 1, right? And when the date equal the max date, I mean, when this here equal the date, goes away. It stops. So I don't have a counter here, right? And but by the way, here I have an error. I should have the this is an error here. It works, but I don't have the counter, so it's this. So what happened here? I'm setting a variable. And here it's a good demonstration how variable works. I can reuse the same variable again and again and replace it when the one I said before, I don't need it again. For example, this is the initial date. This is the initials. I initiate with this. Then the same variable, I don't need to keep the data that I had inside the variable. I just need to initiate. Then I can reset it, the same name that I'm going to replace this by a new content, which here what will be? I initiate the variable with the start date. Then here in the loop, I reset the variable with whatever in the current variable plus 1. That means is in the first loop, it will say it will take whatever in that variable, it will use it and reset itself with whatever was there before plus 1, and that becomes the new. And then the next loop, it will be the same. Okay, we take the new variable, get the content, add 1, and then that is a new variable, et cetera, et cetera. That means you don't need to have 25,000 different name of variables because you can reuse the same variable. You can reuse it. Especially on the loop, it's very, very convenient. And for the next topic about how to build large, what's the name? Large scripts. Well, this is cool because it avoids to have many, different names in variable when you don't really need, because you can reuse the same variable. Of course, you can do that if I don't need that to keep this one, because if I need this just for here, yeah, I can do that technique here. Okay, so here this we say, okay, those are my two dates, so I'm starting with this and I'm ending with this. Okay, so right, I'm setting the new date. Boom, now it's 26. See, it resets itself. It's whatever was there, 25 plus 1, right? And then that's my results. Then I say, okay, now it's 27 because it was 26 plus 1, 27. Exits, 27, 28. And then I'm building my list, right? It keeps going. Notice something here, that variables are smart enough to understand what the content of the variable is. Let me explain. Here I said 20, it was the 30th of September plus 1, right? And he understood this. Date plus 1, it understood that was a date. And I tell you why. He understood that as a date because this field here, the initial field, the start date is a date. It's a date field. So he understood the contents. He understood the contents of this. Because we cannot set a variable. But if you initiate the variable with a type of field, it will understand, it will kind of suck in the type. It will know that what you want to do is date and not a text. You understand? So, and that's why, when you set a date like this in a variable, it will understand it's a date. Then if you say date plus 1, it will understand that you need to add a day of dates. You understand? So it's smart enough. That's why I love to use variable, because variable are smart, much smarter than a field, right? Using variable is a good technique, because you can do all of this without setting a field. I'm setting a field at the end to show the result, but you can do most of what you want to do. Everything you want to do in a field, you can do it in a variable. So sometimes you don't really need to have a field, right? In order to do something like this, right? You don't really need. Right?
I'm
Yes.
going to ask you, and then hopefully this doesn't set up a problem because I'm kind of nervous. Can you up your volume just a tad?
Oh yeah, sure. Is it better?
There you go.
Yeah, it's because it was it goes down, I don't see it. I don't see the microphone in front of my face, and it was getting down. So let me block it a bit here. Okay. That okay? This is better?
Yes, that's good. No, yeah. Last time I asked you yesterday when I asked you to do the volume, it immediately crashed. So I think we're
Yeah, I don't want to go there. Okay, so now all of this, right? So and I presented it that way to demonstrate the while function, because all of this all of this is there in a while function. So that's why I present that because it's the same thing. Date max result, date max result, right? And then is so if you want, I'm going to explain that because it's important, because you can replace many of the loops by while, many by while. So here you have how the while function works. Okay. Here you define your while. It's like a while you have. It's a combination of let, if, and calc, right? Pretty much, right? So here you have your let. You need to define first all your variables. When we say variable, it's not the FileMaker variable with the $sign. It's the computer coding world variable meaning. What, in the coding, in the world of coding, like Java, JavaScript, whatever, we use the word variable. Okay, we have a FileMaker variable, right? That is something I'm talking about. You define the variable in the coding meaning, okay, not the FileMaker meaning, right? A variable is something that changes. A variable, something like is a variable. It can be something else. A constant, it's like this. This is a constant, right? Nick, this is a constant. This is a variable. Why? Because it can change. It's based on something else, But this will be a constant. Nick, it will never change, Okay. So here you declare all your variable, but something you need to know in the while here needs to be present. It needs to be there. Everything you're going to use next. That means if this, for example, result, I don't need it. It's blank. I mean, I don't declare anything, but it needs to be there. Because I'm going to use here, and I'm going to use here, and here. So it needs to be there in the variable side, right? Even so, you say, yeah, initiate with, put nothing, blank, but it needs to be there. And it can be very useful too, because sometimes you want to declare, yeah, make the result by default this, and then you replace by whatever there, but you have a default results. Okay. So then you define while and why they call that, why they didn't call that loop. They could, because it was confusing for many people to call that loop. So they called while. So why? Because the function will perform this. This will be performed, right? While this is correct. Okay, that's very important to know. While this is valid, keep going. That's why I cannot say this, because it's not a loop until there. Here, it's a loop. That's why they didn't call that loop, because this is a loop. Do it until this. You understand? Do the loop until this happen. Here is different. Do it while this is valid, while the date is strictly inferior as a max date, do it. If I do, oh, do it until this, well, it will never work. It will never do it. It will do it once. You understand the difference here? Can you ask people or if they understand what I'm saying here?
David says do it while.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why the while function is not understood. It's not understood, and that's why I did that. I did that demo to make that clear. The while is as a loop, but it doesn't behave the same way. The loop is performing, is doing the loop until this equal this. The while function will continue to work while this is valid, while the date is inferior to max dates. Keep going. That's why they call it while. While this is valid, keep going. When this stops to be valid, stop it. So that's why they call it while. While this is valid, do this. Here is until there, until that, do this. Boom, 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 until you reach this. I don't know how to express more than this, the difference between while and the different until. You understand? So did you people said that they don't get it?
People are saying that they're getting it. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's and that's why while is widely not used because people are confused. They think this is until this, your logic, your human logic will say until this, right? But that will never work because it's while this is inferior than this. Keep going, right? This is not I cannot put that here. If I put that here, it will stop immediately, right? This, it's the condition to keep going. This is the condition to stop. It's not the same thing, right? This is keep going until this is no longer true. When the date is no longer inferior than the max date, stop. Here is stop everything when you reach the state that the date equals the max date. It's not the same thing. That's why they call. That's why I remember the discussion with FileMaker when they got that I was there when they start doing about that is to replace their recursive custom function. The recursive custom function. This is the replacement of the recursive custom function we were heavily used, and they were pretty much the major reason of FileMaker crashes because pretty much they were using a bug of FileMaker. We as a developer, we were using a FileMaker bug to our convenience, but it was generating many problems and crashes because people were doing stupid thing. Now here, I mean, stupid thing, crazy things. So here we are. So the while function here is doing exactly the same here, but within a function. So for example, right? If I go there and I do this, boom, I don't need a loop. I don't need a script. You understand? It's like poof. This, so you need to know something, right? FileMaker, right? You can, the scripts are measured in millisecond. Okay? That's the measurement of a script. A calc is this, micro seconds. Okay, that's a million times faster, or 100,000 times faster. I don't remember the difference between the micro and the. I think it's 1,000 times faster. That's 1,000 times this. I mean, this is 1,000 times faster than this. So if you want to measure or if you, the measurement of a car, right? A measurement of a car speed is miles per hour or kilometer per hour, right? That a car speed. Okay. The Starship Enterprise, the measurement of the speed is light years. Okay. So you see the difference? To measure the speed of a script and a calculation is the same thing. This is mile per hour and that light years. Because the function here will be much faster than any loop in scripts. And I did the demo to you when we use loops, right? And we instead of using export import, for example, right? So you understand? It's loop is slow, scripts are slow. Everything you can remove from a script is a bonus. Remove things from scripts. Don't use perform finds. Avoid this. Avoid. Use everything you can do within this window here. Calcs. Everything you can do within this window here. Schema, relationships, calculations, functions. I told you many times that when you do this, right, and you build and you use a function, it's like pretty much being in Santa Clara, in California, the Silicon Valley, and be sat on a chair at Claris and building FileMaker itself. It's a crack to the application levels, or the point of entry. So when you are using a function FileMaker, is they open you a crack, right, for you to get at the level of the app. It's like you coding FileMaker, right? You are the same level in terms of priority. You are in the engine room, right? You are in the engine room. When you are on the scripts, you are on the playground on top of the ship, right? It's fun. It moves. It's you are on the playground. Those new cruise ship. You have a playground on top of the ship. You have a nice stuff. Like a theme park sometime, right? So you're there playing when you are on the script. But when you are on this dialogue, you are in the engine room, right? It's not the same fun, but if you want to intervene on the speed and on the something like on the ship, it's better to be in the engine room than to be on the playground, right? So this function here, so how the while function works, because when you say while, you have the initial variable, the condition, the logic, and the results. Initial variable, right? So this is initial variable. This is a condition. This is a logic, right? And this is a result. So this is how while func works, right? So you have initial variable, boom, with brackets. So why are the brackets? When you have multiple variable, you need a bracket. If you have one, you don't need. Condition, there's no bracket. There's only one condition. You cannot have multiple conditions. I mean, you can have a calc here with a let. I build something like this. I have a let here in my condition. I built something like this because it was something complicated. But the result is you can have only one condition. You don't have multiple conditions, okay, which is normal. Then the logic, you can have multiple things here, right? Like here, right? So you have the date plus one, right? And you have the results. Because the results, you build the results, right? You build the result and then you use it here. I mean, I could have moved this here. So I could have say, I could have put this here, but I mean, I could have named that differently and put the result here, right? But it's better to build like this. You define your results and you said result equal whatever what was there previously, and you add a date with a carry return to prepare the next. See? So, right? So I'm declaring the date I'm starting, the max date. I'm declaring the result because I'm using the result here and I need to declare it. Here, even if I said, okay, initial variable, result is blank, right? Initial variable. The result is blank. If I put like something like date, like this, let's say I'm putting this, right? This what happened. I declare my initial variable. I said the result start with date, right? And two carry return. Start with this and then add this on top. You understand how this works? So I can declare. So I said, no, start with nothing. I can say this, start with nothing, or start with Nick Hunter, and dung dung. Right? I can do whatever I want. I can declare, I can initiate, right? I can initiate the result with whatever I want, right? So, and it will be used. That's why if I don't have this, well, it's said missing. Something wrong. It's missing this. Is missing the something. He said, and he will say something like this: the value cannot be found. See, he can find this, right? He say the specified table cannot be found, so he cannot find this. Result is missing. If I put back, well, very happy. So that's why sometimes people doesn't know that, and they say, okay, while is not for me. Why? Because I don't know how the freaking this works. And if you go to the help, you get more confused than before. So, right? So that's why you come here, right? But so when now you know how this works, okay? Well, you can do whatever you want, right? Right? So here I have many examples in this file. The day of week, for example, so you can do something like this. More evolved. Always, you can use my pattern here, right? My matrix, and replace this and use the same technique, right? To build something like this, Boom. I'm using a lot of while, because it works very well, right? So for example, I have an example for you. Custom Nick Hunter, custom here. I have something for you, a gift. So something you can do with the while function, right? The time frame out. So this is a type of so this is cool, right? The time frame out. So what this is the type of problems while can fix for you, right? Time frame out. Okay. I start at 8 in the morning and I finish at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So start 8 a.m. and end up 6 p.m. This is 1800 hours. This is a military time. I'm from Europe, so this for me is like normal. Okay. I know you guys in the US has problem with this, but the technique on this is take the number and you remove 12. So 18 minus 12, 6. Correct? If I put 20,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's 20 minus 12, 8 p.m. So everything okay. This is great. But what happened when you do this? I start at 8 p.m. and I finish at 5 a.m. At midnight, I change this. Ha! Right? You see what I mean? Right? Hello?
Yes.
I lost you.
No, you're good. Over
So
here.
that was a challenge, correct?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that you have a range, I have a range that I start at 8 and I want 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 a.m. I pass the day. I didn't want to continue 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 29. I want to, I need to, okay. So to do that, it took me like a week. I did that for a friend and I didn't even get a cent. It's okay. That's have when you have friends. Time frame hours. So the goal is here to use timestamp in a way that you can start. Okay, so I could do this thanks to the while, right? So I can give you I will give you this file, my custom function this time, and I updated some of my custom functions to make, So it took me a week to do that, but you can see this is like it's like a let statement, right? I don't use any of those in my results in my logic, but I'm using this inside the variable here. So also, when you want to build something like this, always use the chef in the cuisine, chef in the kitchen technique. So I call that like that. I don't know if that's another name. the chef in the kitchen technique is put everything on the table, on the counter. Everything you need: onions, garlic, olive oil, tomatoes, cheese, oregano, lettuce, cucumber. Okay, that's the salad I ate this today. So you put everything on the table and then you mix them, boom, 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 and you have your salad. But you need to put everything on the counter, okay, to make sure you don't forget anything, right? So the chef in the kitchen technique is that you put everything on the table. The date. I start with the date. Boom. Okay. I need the date, the current date. Boom. I start with this house. I end with this house. Then I need to know the next day, right? So I need to know if it's the next day. See if the start hour is superior than the end hour. I mean, if the start is superior, that means if I start at 8 p.m. and I end at 5 a.m., that means the 5 a.m. is inferior than the 8 p.m. The 8 p.m. Understand? Is inferior. So I know I need to get the date plus 1. I need to go to the next day because you understand, right? The 5 p.m., the 5 a.m. after the if I put 5 a.m. after 8 p.m., that means it's 5 a.m. of the next day, right? So I figure out this by putting that on the table. I say, okay, I need to declare that if this is superior than this, okay, take the date plus 1, otherwise it's the same day. If I start with 5 a.m. and I end with 8 p.m., that means it's the same day. If I start with 8 p.m. and I end with 5 a.m., that means it's the next day. I'm going to the next day. Then I say, okay, I start with the day, the timestamp. I start with the dates, the current date, right? And so I build this timestamp. I'm building a timestamp. I build it, right? Using the date. This is how you build the timestamp. Get as timestamp the date and the space and the start hour. Then that means the 8 p.m. Then I said the end time, it will be okay. The date next. The date next is the same day if the start hours is inferior than the end hours, that will be the same day. Otherwise, it's next day. So that can be a day more or the same day. It can be one of each. You understand? So that means I get the things. Then I'm taking this minus, an hour. And this minus an hour. Because I want to include the starts. I want to include it. Okay. And then I do this. This is very so pretty much, if you want to know, I teach you techniques like this, right? Since we don't know what, So pretty much I'm doing the get as. Is that interesting, you guys?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
We have a question, by the way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let me finish this. Let me
okay.
finish this. So let's say I'm doing the current date, which is today 09 25th of 24, right? N% blank N%, and the time that I said 0500. So I have a timestamp. This is a timestamp. Okay. Right. Then I have this. So I have this, and then I have another one. And let's say this is the 8 p.m. and this is 8 a.m. It's 5 a.m. Okay. So now I can say get as time this and get as time this, right? So I reconvert like this, but this will be the next day, right? So I can calculate this with the day. So this was the timestamp. This is the time frame I was doing. So if I start on 20 and I end up at 5, right? Boom. See, because I'm using the timestamp, but I remove the dates at the end. But the calc itself, the function itself is, it counts, on the timestamp. So here, right, I have the start plus 360. I'm adding an hour on the start. The start is a timestamp. So because this, you need to know how timestamp works. It's a good topic. How timestamp works, if I add 1, you add second, right? 59 second, plus 10, 11. You see? So you add seconds. If you add 60, so you add minutes, right? If you want to add 1 hour on a timestamp, so let's build a timestamp. Get as timestamp. So today is, we said, the 9, 25th of 24, right? And blank, and let's say it's 11 p.m. So 23:00, boom. So this is a timestamp. If I add 1, I add 1 second, right? If I add 10, I add 10 seconds. If I add 60, I added minutes. So you guessed it. If I want to add an hour, I add an hour, right? If I want to add 2 hours, 3, 4, 5, see? So that's how you do when you want to add more than an hour. You don't say 3,600 you say multiply it by 6. This is how you do. It's easier to understand. If you want to add 6 hours, if I want to add 10 hours, I do this. 1 hour multiplied by 10, right? It's better than to do this, right? So, but if I'm adding 200 hours, if I'm adding 48 hours, for example, well, I'm on the 27th. I added 48 hours. So this is how the timestamp works. You add time, you add an hour. So not only it will count the hours, but in the same time, it will count the day. Correct? It will add this to the whole thing in a very smart manner. So, for example, let's say you want to know from now, so it's 11:53, okay? If I add 48 hours, which day that will land? On the 27th. Because I started on at that time. But if I start, let's say, at 8, or if I start at 2, right? Or 1 or midnight, right? It's still on the 27th. But you understand what I mean? So that means it will, if I say 50, if you if you want to know how many, what will be the day if you add a certain amount of hours, it could land, the date here could be different, right? You understand? Because instead of doing something extremely crazy, right, you use a timestamp, which is a date and a time combined, and then you add your hours to this, and then you get the date at the end. And you can say get as dates. Get as date, get as timestamp this, time plus hours, and then you add your time there, right? You understand? So timestamp is good when you want to use hours, right? When the hours is involved, use timestamp instead of just using time. It will help you. Trust me. So you said you have questions, and we can go?
Yes. So while won't work if date equals max date.
No, it will never work. It needs to be something that lasts in the time. You start, that means the while, for the while to work. Yeah. For the while to work, so let's go to the custom function. Here, let's take this example. Until, while this is valid, that means the start date is inferior or equal of ends. So this, if I say, is not a milestone that says when you reach this, stop. It's not a stopping point. This cannot be a stopping point like a loop. Loop is stop when this, exit loop when this. Correct? This is the loop in scripts. Keep going until you reach that point. Okay. The while is no. This needs to be valid or it won't work. So it needs to last. For the whole process, this needs to be valid to continue doing it. Is not a stopping point. It's a condition to keep going. I don't know how to explain that. Did you get it? This is it. The condition you put here is something that lasts in the time. It needs to be valid. This to be valid to make this running and running and running and running and running until this is no longer valid. The loop is different. Keep going until you reach that point, until this. Exit when. It's a termination point. It's a reaching point. This is not a reaching point. This is a condition to be valid the whole time that's going. Try to find other ways to explain that. You understand?
So someone, David had a comment about conditions. Basically, if loop meets conditions, it breaks, and if while doesn't meet the condition, then it'll break.
No. Yes, we can say that. I mean, you understand that if you start, okay, if I start, why slow? If I start, sometimes FileMaker is weird. I'm on the local file. So let's go maybe, okay. If I start with the, do I have an insert? If I start with the day 09, if I start with 5 a.m. and I finish with 6 p.m., right? And I say, this is my condition. And I come with the data I have in my calculation is 6 a.m. Okay. Is that is between this? Yes. If I say 5 a.m. inferior than 6 p.m., keep going until the date here is between those two. Is that correct? So it will continue. If my calc is to say add an hour on top of this, add an hour, right? And he said next. They say, okay, is that correct? I mean, if I add another hour, if I do this, if that meets that condition, that between 5 a.m. and 6 p.m., is this meets the condition? Yes, it meets. Okay, keep going. Is this meet the condition? Yes, it meets that condition. It is between 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. Okay, continue. Yeah. Okay, 10, continue. Yeah, it's still running, it's still working. Okay, yeah, it's still working. Yeah, we can continue. We can continue. Yeah, continue. Keep going. That's okay. You're good. You're good. You are in the condition. This is okay. This works. This is perfect. I'm still between the 5 a.m. and the 6 p.m. Go ahead. You can go 16. Yes, that works. I mean, let me do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is PM, right? So are we good? Are we good? Yeah, we good. Yeah, we good. We good. We can go to go. And
Yes.
if this meets, right? And then he said no, because 6 p.m., right, is strictly inferior of 6 p.m. It cannot be 6 p.m. If you want to include the 6 p.m., boom, you need to do inferior or equal. Entonces, if you say inferior or equal, you say yes, 6 p.m. works, but if 7 p.m. works, if 7 p.m. meets that condition, no, go away, stop it, gone, stop. You stop because it's no longer in the condition. This works because it is between 5 a.m. and 6 p.m. So keep going until boom, you reach the 6 p.m. Say, yeah, but 7 p.m. doesn't work. So you can't keep going. So that's what I was explaining. It's not a stopping point. The loop will work like this. 6 a.m. is 6 a.m. equal what's the name? Is the start equals 6 p.m.? Is this equal 6 p.m.? Let's say I'm starting with 6 a.m. Is 6 a.m. equals 6 p.m.? No. Okay, I'll keep going. If 7 a.m. equals, no, keep going. If 6 p.m. equals 6 p.m., yes, stop it. Not the same thing at all.
People are saying that they're getting it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Because no, I mean, I know the problem of the while function.
Mm-hmm.
It's that most of the people doesn't get the something wrong happening here. Oh, here. So they don't get it, right? that it's a condition that need to be valid until, right? I mean, while. That's why they call while this is okay, right? But it cannot be something equal. You will never see a while with a condition like equal. It will always be inferior, superior. It can be different. Keep going until this is different. But you can do crazy thing with this. It's the while function. I'm using a while function in my custom function. Most of the time, I'm using while. It's because like this. Getting the work days. Like for example, you want to exclude the weekends. It's a while, and you say, okay, if the date, the weekend, right? Weekend, it's the first day. It's FileMaker weekdays. Okay, so you know the week of the day, right? So let's say today, the day of week of today. We are on the day 5 of the week. Yeah, I'm already on Thursday. Okay, so we're on day 5. Why? We're not on day 4. We're on day 5. FileMaker starts the week on Sunday. The day 1 of the week is Sunday. Day 7 is Saturday. So if I want to exclude, a weekend, I just say, okay, if the day of week of a date is 1 or 7, get rid of it. That's what I'm doing here. I'm saying if I'm declaring the weekend is the 1 and 7, this is my weekends, right? So I'm excluding this. And here I have options. I can include or exclude. So I said I can include the current day or exclude, right? You put 1 or 0 here, right? You have an option here on my custom function, okay? And then you have the start day, the number of days, right? And you have a range. So it's all of this is on while function, right? So if you want to display the range or not. So this is a good custom function that can show you how it works. Get work days, right? This, right? Start date, get current date, number of days 30. I don't want to include the first, and I don't want the range. This is the date, the end, right? So if I add 30 days, 30 working days, Monday to Friday. If I do this, and I said I have 15 days to work on this, this is the due date, the 17th of October. This is 15 days after today of work days. Do I want to include the current day? Yes, include it. So that may change it, right? 0 is the 17. But if I include today inside the calculation of the 15 days, not tomorrow, you know what I mean? Boom. And I say, yeah, show me the detail. Or don't show me the detail. Or show me the detail. Custom function. That's cool. Because that why I did this? I built this to something that complicated that I use this as a debug tool, right? Because I need that, and sometimes I need to see, right? So I was using this option to make sure that, it show you the detail of the work days. So you can see skipped. So 26, 27, up, 28, 29 gone. Why 28, 29 is Saturday and Sunday. So it got straight to the 30th. Same here, 5 and 6 gone, Saturday and Sunday. Same here, 12 and 13 gone, Saturday and Sunday. So I want to make sure this works, right? So that's why I have this option. Show or don't. Cool. Or include or don't include, right? So you can do this in the custom function. You can have parameters, right? That whether get work days, yeah, this one, right? So you have parameters, right? So the result, if the range, I want the result and this, otherwise this, right? So you have a if I have range, and if I said include, I said here, where the include, if include date -1, because I want to include the current date. So I take the date -1, otherwise date. So yeah, so you have options here, right? That good. This I don't remember what it is. Oh, yeah. So this was before, so I kept it, right? Get work days before the while. I'll let you watch this. That is insanity. It works. But look this. Look this insanity. Here, the while, this is much cleaner because it's all on the table. The date, max count, weekends, including range, you have everything there. While this inferior to the max count plus the weekends, right? And then, boom, counter +1, pop, pop, pop. Anyway, so question, otherwise we go to bed. I go.
People are saying, awesome work, man. You make it look so easy. Thank you. So yeah, people appreciate it.
Okay, so do you want the while function file, or do you have it?
I think I have it, but go ahead and send it to me anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to send you my custom function, the loop. And yeah, it was a funny topic. So next week we start the scripting, right?
Yes. So,
yeah.
Everybody, thank you everyone for coming. I'm gonna run the music. Y'all have a great day. We will see you tomorrow.